Hello. I have a question for you. I follow you on YouTube and have been watching you for a while. I just started to get into the building side of the business. My question is, I see some efflorescence on my new gunite shell, 6 weeks old, in a few spots. It's pretty much ready to be plastered. Is this something to worry about, and is it okay to plaster when it's like this? I read that when you plaster it, it'll be okay, but I wasn't sure if it's best to grind it down and out and then bond coat. I just wanted to get your thoughts. Much appreciated, and you do a great job.
So it's actually a really good question. What happens when a pool is shot, I'm assuming this is gunite versus shotcrete, which it's kind of the same process, but a little bit different. Dry gunite is sharp sanded Portland cement that is pumped, and when shot out, water is added. So that's dry shotcrete. Dry gunite. Wet gunite is pre-mixed in a truck with some aggregate, with some stone, and it's shot out and air is added at the end. Either one of them, technically, the shell is still porous. It's kind of weird to think about concrete being porous, but both of them will let water weep through the shell. The dry gunite, which I'm thinking that's what this is more likely to leach water through. So what you're seeing in the efflorescence is water that's weeping from behind the shell through the shell. As the water weeps through, it picks up calcium out of the Portland cement that's a part of the binder that holds this all together. And as it runs and as it leaches into the air, it leaves a coating as the water either evaporates or rolls down into the pool. In general, it's okay. You can really expect that because this shell is porous. When you plaster it, that plaster finish is what prevents moisture from going in and out. So you're absolutely correct that it's okay to plaster over it. What I would hesitate, you're only 6 weeks old, so there shouldn't be that much on there. But if you looked at that efflorescence and you had a solid coating that had kind of a shiny sheen to it, means a lot of water came through and a lot of calcium had been deposited there on its way in, you might want to grind that down or at least etch it so that your plaster can attach to it. If it's super smooth, the plaster won't attach as well, and you always run the risk of that delaminating. But if this is just sort of a fogging in white on the rough texture of the gunite itself, you'll be perfectly fine to plaster it. So it's a great question because you would think this is a concrete container, it should hold water. The fact is it won't. You could fill that pool up right now all the way full and it will lose water. Water will leach its way through that gunite because it's porous. It needs that plaster finish, and that plaster finish is technically what holds the water into the pool. So I think it should be okay. Just make sure that that's not a solid sheen, which after 6 weeks I couldn't imagine it would be. If it had been like that for a year or two, if you had started a project and then not gotten water into it, you might have more of an issue. But with 6 weeks old, I imagine it could be plastered.